Wait, hold up. Something is not adding up here, and you'll need to pay attention. The biggest luxury empire on the planet just made a move that nobody saw coming, and Rihanna, yeah, billionaire Rihanna, is sitting at the center of it. And the man standing right next to her at fashion's biggest night? Suddenly looking like he wants no parts of it. A$AP Rocky's body language said everything the press releases won't. Bro really chose this moment to start acting like he doesn't know her business. Real quick, if you want the receipts the mainstream sites are too scared to lay out, smash that like and hit subscribe. We don't do PR-friendly fluff over here. We do the truth, raw. Here's the skeleton. Rubbin' Rihanna Fenty, yes, I herself, got blindsided when the Financial Times dropped an exclusive on October 21, 2025, reporting that LVMH is exploring the sale of its 50% stake in Fenty Beauty. Same outlet flagged Marc Jacobs on the chopping block too. The bomb went off on the exact same day Rihanna walked the Met Gala carpet in custom Marc Jacobs. Vogue named her best dressed hours later. Rocky really thought standing next to that storm wouldn't get him wet? Alright, let's pull the receipts. Alright, let's start with the document that started the wildfire. In the Financial Times exclusive published October 21, 2025, the outlet directly stated that LVMH is exploring sales of Marc Jacobs, its Fenty Beauty stake and other brands as demand for luxury goods slows. Brew. Read that again. Exploring sales. That's corporate language for we're done playing. When I read that, I had to sit down. That's not we're restructuring. That's we want out. Then Reuters confirmed it on the same day, October 21, 2025, writing, and I quote, luxury goods giant LVMH is exploring a sale of its 50% stake in Fenty Beauty, which it co-owns with Grammy award-winning singer and businesswoman Rihanna. When I saw Reuters back the foot story, that's when I knew this wasn't a rumor. Two of the most respected financial outlets on earth lined up the same day? That's not coincidence. That's a coordinated leak. Now Puck News went in with their reporting. Fashion insider Rachel Strugat wrote, and I'm quoting directly, Fenty revenue has crested, and Kendo, LVMH's beauty incubator, has all but been dismantled. Yo, crested. That's a beautifully savage word. Translation? She peaked. The mountain stopped climbing. That's the kind of line that ends careers in PR meetings. Whoever fed that quote to Puck wanted Rihanna's camp to feel it. The NZ Herald and Yahoo Finance both confirmed earlier this year that Rihanna lost approximately $36 million, roughly $62 million New Zealand, when the Fenty luxury fashion line shut down. The NZ Herald wrote, Rihanna has lost close to $36 million after the collapse of a luxury fashion venture with LVMH. When I read that number out loud, I was like, 36 million. In one venture. That's not a stumble, that's a faceplant. And LVMH didn't eat that loss quietly either. Then on the Met Gala side, Vogue's official statement on May 5, 2025 named A$AP Rocky among the official best dress co-chairs and praised Rihanna's custom Marc Jacobs maternity look, pregnancy announcement and all. Bro really walked the carpet as a co-chair while his girl's biggest business partner was preparing to dump her brand. Rocky said what? That's the dumbest position to be standing in. He had to know. And if he didn't know, that's even worse. And finally, TMZ posted the now infamous Sprinter van footage after Gala, where Rocky and Rihanna are sitting in the back looking dead serious, not touching, not laughing. TMZ literally captioned it like a high school prom gone wrong. When I watched that clip, I was like, nah, this ain't exhaustion. This is the look of two people who just had a hard conversation. Now that we got the quotes, let's connect the dots. Now check the timeline because this is where it gets spicy. That foot exclusive? Dropped within hours of the Met Gala carpet. Not days. Hours. The Reuters confirmation? Same business day. Y'all, exclusives at that level get coordinated weeks in advance with editorial desks. So somebody at LVMH or close to it pulled the trigger knowing the Met Gala was going to be Rihanna's biggest visibility day of the year. That's not a coincidence. That's a message. Then peep this. Remember Jay-Z's deal? February 22nd, 2021. LVMH bought 50% of Armand de Brignac, Ace of Spades, directly through Moet Hennessy. The NYT reported the partnership was personally midwifed by Alexandra Arnold, Bernard's son. Harv is tight with the Arnold family. And 5 years later, while Fenty is being publicly labeled an underperformer, Hov's champagne is still safely tucked inside the portfolio. Bernard really woke up and decided to throw Rihanna under the bus while protecting his son's homebeau? That's terrible strategy, brew. His statement came while the broader luxury sector was bleeding. Reuters reported in May 2026 that LVMH shares have been underperforming the wider luxury sector since March 2024. Translation: Bernard needed scapegoats, and Fenty got picked. Marc Jacobs got picked. But Hov's bubbly? Untouched. Any executive with a calculator can see the bias. But LVMH's board isn't smart enough to hide it. That sale rumor about Vincent Bolloré? The man is described by Index on Censorship as the French Murdoch, a hard-right media tycoon. Reuters reported on March 24, 2026, that Bolloré had to deny accusations of waging a political war. This is the dude rumored to be the front-runner for Fenty, a brand built on INCLUSIVITY. That's the timeline equivalent of throwing a vegan into a steakhouse and asking him to manage the menu. So Bernard really thought this pairing wouldn't blow up in the press? That's the move of someone who's desperate to move inventory. And here's the connection nobody's saying out loud. Rocky silence. His Instagram, quiet on the business front since the Foot story. His public statements, nothing about Fenty. Nothing about supporting his girl's empire publicly. Suddenly the same man who couldn't stop hyping shining like a diamond on the carpet went radio silent the second the financial heat turned up. Bro really chose this moment to act like a side character in his own family business. Bro doesn't have real advisors. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Now check this out. Nobody's talking about the wording. That one specific phrase from Puck News, revenue has crested. That's not declined. That's not struggling. Cresting means it hit the top and started rolling downhill. That word choice is surgical. Someone inside LVMH wanted Rachel Strugatz to use that exact mountain metaphor because mountains don't bounce back, they erode. And opposition. Bernard's PR team really thought we wouldn't catch the disparate in business jargon. Embarrassing. Now zoom into the Foot phrasing. Reviewing stake changes across several labels. See that word, reviewing. In M&A language, reviewing means decision already made, just looking for the right buyer. If they were genuinely undecided, they'd use considering options. The fact that the Foot had access to that specific verb tells me Bernard's team wanted the market to know this is happening. They are not testing the waters. They are announcing exits while pretending to deliberate. Then look at the timing of the announcement itself. The story didn't drop at 9 a.m. the day before the gala. It didn't drop the day after. It dropped during. While Rihanna was getting dressed. While Rocky was practicing his red carpet walk. That's a forensic-level psychological move. Why would Bernard greenlight that release window? Because he wanted the contrast, Vogue celebrating her on one screen, Foot burying her brand on the other. That's the move of someone trying to control the public narrative of how Fenty's exit gets remembered. If Bernard had half a brain, he would have known we'd notice the choreography. Now the visual forensic. The Sprinter Van Clip. Watch Rocky's hands in those frames. Not on Rihanna. Not on her belly. Sitting flat on his own knees. For a man who couldn't keep his hands off her at the carpet 6 hours earlier, that's a hard pivot. And his eyes? Locked on the partition glass, not on her face. That ain't tired body language. Tired bodies slump toward each other. Distant bodies close OFF from each other. Rocky's body chose option 2. And opposition. Rocky really thought cameras wouldn't catch that switch up? You're dating the most photographed woman alive. My guy. Everything you do is evidence. The legal subtlety nobody caught? LVMH's 50% stake means Rihanna already owns the other 50%. So when Bernard says we're exploring a sale, that doesn't mean Fenty is dying. It means Bernard wants out and Rihanna gets stuck holding the bag or finding a new partner. That's the kind of corporate move that says we don't believe in you anymore with a smile. And opposition. Bernard really framed this as a routine portfolio review? Nah. This is divorce papers dressed up as a press release. Now let's see how the media covered this. Now here's where the media split is fascinating. The Financial Times framed it as a sober, strategic restructuring. Bernard Arnault making tough but necessary portfolio decisions in a soft luxury market. Clean, corporate, boardroom friendly. Notice how the FT's interpretation makes Bernard look like the disciplined CEO and Fenty look like the problem child. That's not journalism. That's narrative shaping. Reuters framed it slightly differently. Their May 2026 follow-up titled Less is More. Marc Jacobs sale shows LVMH cutting complexity positioned the move as Bernard playing 5D chess, simplifying the portfolio so the stronger brands can shine. That spin gives Bernard cover. It makes the offloading sound noble. But remember that financial backdrop from earlier? Bernard's free cash flow exceeds $11 billion. His not simplifying, his purging. Then Puck News went the spiciest route. Rachel Strugat's framing painted Fenty as a brand that crested past its peak. CNA Luxury echoed it, framing the move under luxury slowdown. But notice, none of these outlets asked the question we're asking. WHY is Hov's champagne brand still safe while Rihanna's billion-dollar beauty empire is on the auction block? The financial logic doesn't add up. The media framing dances around that contradiction. Now some Rihanna fans on Twitter are saying this is a coordinated hit job. Some Rocky defenders are saying Rihanna's tired body language was just pregnancy fatigue. Some Bernard apologists are saying it's pure business, no race, no gender, no politics. But those are the same people who thought the Marc Jacobs sale was unrelated when it dropped the same week. The receipts don't lie. When you have 3 prestige outlets framing the same story 3 different ways within 7 days, somebody is pulling editorial strings. The media trying to spin this for Bernard, but if you connect Hov's protected status, Rocky silence, and the Bolo rumor, the picture gets ugly fast. But here's what nobody is saying. Something about this whole thing feels OFF. And I'm not buying the soft luxury market excuse anymore. Here's what nobody is talking about. This isn't a business story. This is an industry politics story dressed up in financial language. And the player nobody's naming is the one with the most to lose if Rihanna's empire keeps growing, and the most to gain if it shrinks. Bernard Arnault didn't wake up one morning and decide Fenty was the problem. Fenty Beauty single-handedly reshaped an entire industry, 40 foundation shades, billion-dollar valuation, a black woman billionaire status flex. That's not a crested brand. That's a brand that scared the old guard, so bad they had to engineer an exit before Rihanna had enough leverage to demand more. This is how the luxury industry's gatekeepers operate when a black-founded brand gets too powerful. They don't kill it directly. They starve it of distribution and call it underperformance. Bernard's a puppet to luxury's old money instincts, and those instincts have never been comfortable with Rihanna's level of cultural ownership. And here's the receipt connection. Remember that timeline thing we broke down? It's not just Fenty getting cut. It's Marc Jacobs too. Marc Jacobs is a queer-coded, culturally progressive brand. Fenty is a black-coded, inclusivity-coded brand. Now look at what's staying. Louis Vuitton, Dior, ultra-traditional houses. Bernard is purging cultural disruptors and keeping legacy prestige. That's not portfolio strategy. That's ideological curation. The industry needs the disruptors to fail, so the old gatekeepers can call their model the only one that works. And now Vincent Bolloré, Mr. Right-Wing French Murdoch, is the front-runner buyer? You can't make this up. The same Bernard who personally championed inclusivity wins is now signaling he'd hand Fenty off to a media tycoon who's been accused of waging political war against progressive outlets. That's not a coincidence. That's the soft handoff. Bernard sells, Bolloré buys. The brand quietly gets neutered. The cultural moment Rihanna created gets diluted, and the luxury old guard restores order. Bernard is playing chess, while Rihanna's team has been busy at the Met Gala thinking the partnership was healthy. He's already lost the optics war though. Now here's the part that's gonna make some y'all uncomfortable. Hov has been covered through everything. Massive lawsuits, brutal public scrutiny, cultural backlash. And yet, Moet Hennessy still owns half of Ace of Spades. The NFL still partners with Roc Nation. The Inspire Change initiative still runs. Bernard Arnault still publicly stands next to him at events. Compare that to Rihanna. No scandal, no controversy, billionaire status, beloved globally. And her brand is the one being offloaded. Brew. That math don't math unless you understand that Hov's value to Bernard is the personal relationship with Alexandre Arnault, not the actual sales numbers. Ace of Spades isn't selling like Fenty. It never has. But Hov gets institutional protection. Rihanna gets institutional abandonment. Harv is rewriting history with his protection, while Rihanna is paying the price for someone else's risk management. And here's where Rocky comes in. And this is the part that's gonna sting. Rocky has been positioning himself as a fashion world fixture for years. Met Gala co-chair, Vogue features, Bottega Veneta campaigns. His personal brand depends on the same European luxury establishment that just signaled they are done with his girl. So when the Foot story dropped, Rocky had a choice. Defend Rihanna publicly and risk his own luxury access, or stay silent and protect his solo lane. Rocky picked silence. Rocky picked his career. And that Sprinter van footage? That ain't tired body language. That's the look of a man who just realized his girl's fight isn't a fight he's willing to lose his own access for. Rocky represents the new generation of artists who say they are down for the culture, but fold when the institutions test them. He's playing checkers while Rihanna is being forced to play chess against the entire luxury establishment. And that's the truth they won't tell you. Watch the next move carefully, because the chess pieces are about to start flying. 3 scenarios are coming, and Rocky better hope he picked the right side of history. Path 1. The collapse path. When Bernard finalizes a buyer, and he will, this is happening. That ship has sailed. Rihanna's gonna be forced to either buy back the other 50% herself, recruit a new luxury partner, or take Fenty independent. Whichever path she picks, the next 18 months are gonna be the most scrutinized of her business career. Every quarter, every revenue report, every product launch, picked apart by analysts looking to confirm Bernard's crested narrative. And, opposition, Rocky? Rocky's gonna be sitting next to her at every fashion event, smiling for cameras, while privately scrambling to make sure his luxury contracts don't get touched by the same fallout. Rocky is not ready for the optics test that's coming. He's gonna look like the guy who couldn't carry his weight when his girl needed institutional backup. Path 2. The revenge path. Knowing Rihanna's competitive history, the smart money says she comes back harder. New partnership. Bigger valuation. Probably with an American luxury group or a sovereign wealth fund tired of European arrogance. When that announcement drops, and I'm calling it now, within 12 months, every outlet that called Fenty crested is gonna have to eat their words. Bernard's soft luxury market excuse is gonna look like cope. And the second Rihanna's new partnership outperforms her LVMH numbers, the entire luxury industry is gonna have to confront the fact that they bet against the wrong queen. Bolo is not ready for that L if he actually closes the deal. And Bernard? He's gonna be the executive who sold low and watched a billion-dollar brand thrive without him. Path 3. The culture shift path. The scary part isn't what happens to Rihanna. She's a billionaire, she'll be fine. The scary part is what this signals for every black founder watching. If LVMH is willing to publicly humiliate the most successful celebrity beauty founder of the last decade, Met Gala best dressed, billionaire status, cultural icon, over performance metrics that magically don't apply to Harv champagne, every black entrepreneur eyeing a European luxury partnership is gonna think twice. The next 5 years of black-founded brand expansion just got harder. Bernard didn't just sell a stake. He signaled to an entire generation of founders that the old guard's loyalty is conditional. 5 years from now, people will look back at this October 2025 moment as when black creators in luxury collectively decided to stop asking for a seat and build their own table. And the wild card? Rocky's silence is gonna age worse than anyone else's move. Because the receipts on social media are forever. The clips of him going quiet during the biggest crisis of his girl's business career? They are gonna get pulled up every time he tries to position himself as a fashion authority. Every time he sits front row at a luxury show, somebody on Twitter is gonna ask, where was this energy when LVMH dumped Rihanna? Rocky picked his career today. The culture is gonna remember tomorrow. He doesn't get to be a Met Gala co-chair and a silent partner in his girl's empire. Pick one, brew. The culture is shifting in real time, and Rocky is on the wrong side of it. Whatever happens, one thing's clear, Bernard already lost. Rocky already lost. And Rihanna? She's about to write the most expensive comeback story in luxury history. Listen, the Foot report is just the first crack. There are more leaks coming. There are more silent moves being made behind closed doors. And the next few months are gonna expose exactly which men in this story were really in Rihanna's corner, and which ones were just standing close enough for the photos. Smash that like. Hit subscribe. Drop a comment telling me, Is Rocky guilty of distancing, or am I reading too deep? And by the way, tomorrow we're dropping something wild about the Bolo Arnold family meetings that nobody's reporting on yet. You do not want to miss that.